The following video may contain spoilers for every available Xeno game. Hi, it's been a while. Life has been busy, and ups and downs and all arounds. I'm not going to go into it here. Maybe in due course that'll come out piecemeal. But Xenoblade, the Switch 2 editions of the original trilogy, I'm very excited for. One's is really good. I've barely started my replaythrough, but it's perfectly timed because I've been meaning to go through all of them again in preparation of whatever comes next, and this works for me perfectly, even the fact that they're coming out at different dates. I love seeing this game like this, and Xenokart has been very fun. For 2, I'm very excited to see that game not look like doggy doo-doo in handheld, and to see it how I really wish I could see it all the time. My one thought on the rare blade that is coming is it would be very funny if it's Al from X to pair with Elma and the things that her story has with her quests. And for 3, I have no clue who the new hero is going to be, but I'm very excited to see who, and I hope that they are super lore relevant. Now, Xenoblade Genesis interests me like crazy because of how non-Xeno and fully Xeno it looks. First thing's the biggest. It seems like we're experiencing this world inside a hollow or caved-out planet, given how the world seems to wrap around itself like a Mario Galaxy level. The mountain here looks like a spaceship similar to the Tower of Babel from Xenogears, though interestingly, if it is, and this is how we exit the hollow planet, we would be descending through it in a reverse Tower of Babel, which in Christian theology is typically seen as the spiritual return of Jesus Christ and the reunification of peoples after the tower itself has divided them. Obvious Xenosaga connection or illusion here, but given the spaceship into a tower reference to Xenogears' Eldred ship, I also consider it a double whammy. Now for some names. The world we're inhabiting is called Anshar, which is typically a Mesopotamian god who acts as a king of gods, and also typically a personification of the skies. Mesopotamia as a reference is super interesting because as far as I've been able to tell, the biggest or main Mesopotamian reference in Xeno is the Sumerians in X being a playoff of the Sumerians, or the earliest recorded ancient human civilization. So we have one possible connection to the Sumerians here, second being the elf people having their elf ears, of which we have seen Sumerians have. I'm doubting this means that we're dealing with Elma's race of Sumerians, but it is possible that we're dealing with some offshoot descendants that are in some other universe, similar to how the Clurians in X are descended from them. The school the main characters go to is called Lukos, which has 2 meanings I could think have relevance. Lukos by itself is Greek, which could mean bright or white. Think of it in terms of light. I'll come back around to that. The second is in what are called leukocytes, or white blood cells, which are parts of the body that seek out to eliminate infection. The energy of the world is anima, this time around instead of ether. It is unclear if it is the same thing by another name, but I'm going to place a bet that there's a reason it is named differently. However, I do believe Zohar shenanigans are involved, since anima is huge in Xenosaga and Xenogears context. Anima comes from Jungian psychology and is historically noted as the feminine aspects of a man's personality, typically paired with animus, which are the masculine aspects of a woman's personality. One example of symbology I love to bring up is the Eldred ship from Xenogears' opening. The Philadelphia-class mothership, which later becomes the actual physical Tower of Babel, is very phallic in design, something regarded traditionally masculine. Yet on the ship is housed an artificial life form in Deus, which uses the trap wave existence to gestate a new physical form. It is the aspects of the feminine within the masculine that is so interesting. Anima and Animus are also the names of the 2 related forces within Xeno that are usually paired with Zohar, and an interesting part is that they usually swap roles in Xenogears and Xenosaga. In Xenogears, the Anima is represented by the 12 Anima relics, which take the form of the Golden Zohar lookalikes that originate from Katamoni, the biological computer that was created by humanity to manage the Deus system. The Anima relics align with gears present in the game to attune with their systems to overlevel them to Omni gears. The Animus in Xenogears is the SOL 9000 computer, which houses the digitized consciousness of the 8 of the original 12 first humans born onto Xenogears' new planet, the Gazel Ministry. Their goal is to gather the Anima relics and use their power to reconstruct Deus. In Xenosaga, Anima takes presence as the Vessels of Anima, which in this game look like divorced human spines. It also is that nifty little design in Episode 2's logo. Also, Telos in Xenoblade 2 uses a site that is made to look like a vessel of Anima. Anima in Xenosaga is a power that seeks for the end of the universe and split to create vessels to prevent that from happening. It's a bit complicated, but 50% of the power of Anima was divorced from the original 100% to create the 12 vessels by Mary Magdalene. and the remaining 50% is the character we know in Xenosaga as Chaos, taking on the masculine role instead of the feminine. Animus, then, is the body of Mary Magdalene, which is used by Vector to create Cosmos as a prototype unit, who eventually becomes the vessel for the reincarnation of Mary's spirit, and Telos is the attempted final version using Mary's actual body, but Cosmos ends up resonating because of Xian's role as her maiden. All of this to say, it is super interesting that the main power of magic in Genesis is called Anima. The type of soldiers in the school, Lukos, are training to be called Vesselai, which I've heard being discussed as Vessel Samurai or Vessel Knights, which, ding ding ding, using Anima as vessels, that's interesting. Also, back to the double entendre of white blood cells, blood vessels is also a neat callback. Frankly, that whole Animus discussion tired me out, so I'm not going to go super deep into the Genesis significance, but the Xenogears art/lore book, Perfect Works, also talks about the time of the Genesis and the proposal for Xenogears Episode 2. I'll leave that on screen and you can read it for yourself. Next, the main character Eleanor, who can be shortened to Ellie for a fun Xenogears reference, wields a lot of dark powers in this trailer, which could be attained to Malos from Xenoblade 2 and Future Redeemed. Could also be likened to the Sumerians' use of the conduit in X Definitive Edition, Chapter 13. And interestingly, the Anima Cryststones here shows Numa's sword, so that's fun. The last bit of interest I have at the moment are the 6 suns, going back to the light and bright and King of the Sky symbology for a moment. I've got a feeling that these suns are definitely artificial, and maybe are the sustaining force of whatever hollow planet of existence we're in, and it requires these Vesselai to absorb as much Anima/light as possible to join the rest up there, sacrificing themselves. Maybe their use is being fending off the Animus outside of the white blood cells they're named after? I don't know. It's interesting that we may have 6 party members and there are 6 suns. If we combined all those together, that is 12 vessels of Anima. I don't know. I'm excited to see what comes next. Check you guys next time.